My name is Sean. I'm a houseplant enthusiast from Jakarta, Indonesia. Welcome to today's bonus video. It's going to be an interesting shopping experience. I'm actually here at Aroids at Pak Chandra's nursery. We're going to have a home tour and interview at his place later on, maybe in June, I think. But this video is supposed to come out in April because it's going to be a shopping trip. It's going to be interactive where you can actually purchase some of the plants that are shown today in this video. It's going to be my picks and also some of the plants that they think are trending now, some of the plants that they have in stock. I'm going to have the species ID and prices on the screen, and to be completely transparent with you guys, I'm getting 10% cut of anything that you purchase in today's video, but only for the period of April. So yeah, now it's springtime, and I believe that some of you guys who are living abroad, this is the best time to bring in plants. And if you discover something nice here within your budget, it would actually be great because you'll be contributing to my channel, but you'll also be helping out a local business here in Indonesia. And as you can see here, a lot of the plants here are really well done. They are professional exporters with a lot of experience and integrity. So yeah, I hope that this experience benefits us all. But for those of you who are not into the plant purchasing game, sit back, enjoy the video. We'll be discovering some really cool species here. And just as a disclaimer, most of the things that we see here today are going to be rare Aroids. Hey, it's Sean from the future. I'm actually editing this video, and I just wanted to add some things. First of all, I noticed that they didn't have an Instagram account because their Instagram account was given to the employees. So it's Aroid dot maybe the employees' names. Pak Chandra was kind enough to give the employees all the freedom, and he didn't figure that they needed a company Instagram account. So yeah, the Instagram account is going to be on the screen, but it's going to be pretty empty. Feel free to follow them. It will help support the business quite a bit. And do DM them if you have any questions about anything you see in today's video. And another thing is some of the items you see in the video today is going to be not for sale. When we were filming at the nursery, it was just very casual, and sometimes I just ran towards the plant without figuring out the stock. But yeah, some of them are not going to be on sale yet, but if you are interested, feel free to reach out to them. Maybe they can notify you when things go on sale. And lastly, the prices that you see on the screen are going to be per leaf basis for the most part. So it's going to be the price per leaf, but it may not apply to all of them. So feel free to ask away. And as I'm doing the editing, I'm putting the prices in. I'm noticing that some of them are predictably expensive because there are a lot of rare plants that we covered today in this video. But some of them are actually very affordable, you guys. I was quite excited about them. I may even consider getting some myself. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna get on with the tour. All right, so for this tour, we have two guides here. This is Agus and Mr. Joe. So they are the caretakers of all the plants that you see here. They're propagators, and they will be helping me out with some of the plant IDs and making recommendations as I go along. Because I may not identify some of the cool trending plants, as I have limited knowledge on all of them. But yeah, let's get this tour started. We'll start with this I say common, but this is pretty rare. But we'll start with this area here, and then we'll end the tour in this caged area. As you know, there are going to be a lot of very crazy plants in there. So this is a variegated Alcantarea imperialis. Oh wow, came all the way here. It's gorgeous. Wow. Alright, disclaimer, so I did film about 30 minutes of footage and there was no audio, so I have to start over again. But at this time, I think I've memorized the names a little bit better. This is the Philodendron radiatum golden. And they said that if you give this a little bit more light, the gold will shine through a little bit more. And over here, this is the Philodendron Linami. They actually corrected me 15 times already, but I couldn't get the name right. But I really love this plant for its gorgeous new leaf. Look at that. Beautiful pink. And then they will harden into this green color. We're gonna see more of this later, and you'll realize that these guys will scream out to you. They're attention seekers here. So this is a Philodendron heteroclaspedo. The name's gonna be on the screen for you guys, as well as the price. So it's easy for you guys to shop if you're shopping or if you're just curious. But Pak Chandra is a collector of a lot of rare Aroids from about 20, 23 years ago. So he's got a lot of diversity in his collection. Some of them haven't made it popular in the plant trade yet, but he has them in stock, and they come in very, very different sizes and shapes. This is the more popular Philodendron UPI. They come in many sizes here. They have quite a lot of stock. And this is the more mature form. Look at how beautifully ruffled the leaves are actually. I never found any respect for them until now. I've never looked at them up close before. But look at that. They actually look quite nice. And the prices have fallen quite a bit on these, so maybe now is a good time to find them at a pretty decent deal. And yeah, this is a larger form. There's two living in one pot. But yeah, they have smaller forms available. And over here, look at this flower. Let's admire it because I'm about to show you the leaves. Can you guess what this is from the flower? This is in fact a variegated hosta. Look at how beautiful this is. My goodness. And this is also temperate hardy. It can withstand a bit of cooler climate, and they do go dormant, if I'm not wrong. This is a variegated Homalomina. This is still SP, as with most Homalominas. But look at their inflorescence, it's facing down. And there's actually two plants living in them. Homalominas are very well known to put out pups. So they are quite prolific growers. Really, really beautiful here. This is the Philodendron hortifolium. This is new to me. It looks a bit like the upgraded version of the ghost. It's got more visual interests here, and a lot of the plants here are actually a decent size. Look at that. This is beautiful. Here's the Philodendron esmeraldense narrow. Look at how long the leaves are. I can imagine these being a bit epiphytic as they hang down from the canopy up top. And look at that. Look at all these roots. Makes me want to propagate them. And then here's the Philodendron Burlemarx verde. Yeah, they had to correct me. But this is different from the Philodendron Burlemarx variegated because of its, look at how beautiful the pattern is. It looks like the Paraiso verde. And Pak Chandra here actually is responsible for naming the Philodendron Paraiso verde, which is something that we will discuss when I interview him later on. So this is the regular form for the esmeraldense. And this is the narrow form. Look at how different they are. This is the Anthurium munii. And in a few of my nursery videos, I did call out to these. I really love they're like raptor claws. And they come in different sizes. This is a medium size. Look at all the aerial roots. Look at them. They're just so happy here. My goodness. And then this is the smaller. And this one here is the bicolor. Philodendron bicolor. Look at that, look at the color on these. It's like a party. Look, even the roots have colors on them. And then the underside is burgundy. Really, really nice for these guys. And they're becoming in cultivation lately. So yeah, they used to be quite rare, but now you can actually, it's more collectible these days for this one. This is also the Linnamia. I keep failing, I don't know how to pronounce it. I want to show you, if you step back, looked around the whole place, this one's gonna call out to you. Look at how feisty it is. It's an attention seeker. And this is the Philodendron variegata phylum. I have failed to grow them into this mature form because they actually start out with this beautiful tiny heart-shaped leaves, which is beautiful too. But to get them to reach this maturity, you need to stake them up. Look at how, look, the stem is getting fatter, and now it's flowering here. It's putting out inflorescence. So you need to really be on top of their care to get them to get that big. Same as this one here. This is the Philodendron lupinum. Okay, my mind is blank now. But this is the new leaf. This bright sunset orange here, which is rubbery, will turn into this. Something that is a little bit matte, but beautiful. But if you know the juvenile form, it's actually a little bit, well, this is actually the teenage form, but the smaller one will actually be a small heart-shaped velvety leaf with red underside. Yeah, the red underside is gone as they reach maturity. But this is actually difficult to achieve here. This is also the same, the Philodendron linnemii. Look at how beautiful and bright. And that one too. I really adore these guys, by the way. I'm starting to find them to be just a welcome distraction. Here is a Philodendron luxurians, and they actually grow terrestrially, very similar to your gloriosum, but it's got some interesting veins on these. And that's a new leaf that's unfurling. And up here, I forgot this name. This is the Philodendron Asplunde. Asplunde narrow. Look at that. It's massive. It's thundering now. Look at that. Everything's so healthy. Look at all these roots. And here's the Philodendron lelanmiano. And look at how beautiful the shape of the leaves are. And look at the asymmetrical. Look at the left and the right. It's very much like a key. So every one of these unlocks a certain keyhole. Really, really stunning. Is this ini sama ya? Sama. And this is the smaller version. Well, not so small. This is actually, for me, it's quite big, but they also come in much smaller sizes, I'm sure. So when you're looking for plants here, just ask them because they do have many size and shape variations. Is that Philodendron apa ya? Serpens? Philodendron yang di belakang ini? Serpens, yeah. Yeah, this is the Philodendron serpens. I've been seeing this in the market quite a lot lately too. They're becoming a bit popular. But look at the ruffled, like the fuzzy, hairy petiole. And here's a Philodendron jungle fever, and it's rosette-like. By the way, we have some music accompanying us now, so we can dance to the tunes. But these guys, they are actually putting out inflorescence. Look at how nice. And these are the neighbors. They're also flowering simultaneously. Look at that. Beautiful. I think philodendron flowers would be the next thing, because we're used to collecting so many philodendrons over the pandemic. But then they're teeny tiny cuttings, and then I think at some point we will start appreciating not just the leaves, but also their flowers. And back there, there's a Monstera pinnatipartita. I actually thought this was the Rhaphidophora tenuis in the beginning, but look at how ominous the thunder sound is. But this is a very mature form of the pinnatipartita. Usually people buy them in smaller forms, and they're oftentimes confused for the carcentianum. But look at the fruit, the flower. This is fruit or flower? I think it's already fruited. I think this was already pregnated. But yeah, really gorgeous leaves on these. And here's the Epipremnum amplissimum yellow variegated. And I've mentioned this in a few videos, but these are quite popular now. The growers here are starting to grow them out for their beauty, because they actually shingle. Look at that, they shingle beautifully, left, right. And if you view from up top, quite spectacular too. They look really nice in a landscape setting and also in your indoor jungle, but they do need something to climb onto. These guys, they do not like to be kind of just left to hang. They don't look so good that way. And here, this is the Philodendron radiatum, variegated, and it's got this beautiful lime green variegation on these. I find that the regular form is already beautiful, but this variegated, even more beautiful. And I want to call your attention to this little tiny leaf. You can see this already variegated. And the reason why it's tiny is because there's a cut here. So the next leaf is usually small, and then they will resume to their normal size after this. Love looking at this. I adore baby leaves. And this one's just so ready to be. Look at all these aerial roots. These plants are cared for in very pristine conditions. And this is still the lupinum. My goodness. If you're in the market for mature form lupinums, my goodness, here we go. This is the Philodendron undulatum. I'm looking at them as I say it because I'm still struggling to learn this, but look at this. This is crazy. This is a whole new level of philodendron. Very, very dramatic ruffles. I've never seen this before. Every leaf is ruffled like this. The leaves are actually quite normal looking. But yeah, the party really is in the back for these guys. And this one is the Philodendron ernestii, and they're quite similar in the way that they are ruffled too. But this one has less extreme ruffles than that one there. Look at it from up above. Yeah, I actually prefer this one. This is so extreme. And this one's actually grown from here to the next pot over. How wild is that? I love it. And there's a plant here that's growing from the ground. And it's growing up. And I don't know if you can guess what this is. I've actually made this video dedicated to this species. It's the Epipremnum skeleton key. And I don't know why these guys aren't more popular than they are now. They're really, really spectacular. Each leaf is different. And they can actually get massive. This is still considered a small or relatively small size. And a story here, there's actually a vine here, which is the Epipremnum pinnatipartita variegata that Pak Chandra brought in from the Philippines. And there's one leaf hanging on there. This is also a plant that I spoke of in one of my other videos. But all the Indonesian Epipremnum pinnatipartita variegata came from this plant. This is the mother plant of all the Epipremnum pinnatipartita variegatas. How insane is that? And now we're into the Anthurium realm for a while. This is the Anthurium dorayaki x red crystallinum. My goodness, look at that. And look at this new baby leaf here, my goodness. So they're exhibiting both the parent plant characters, the dorayaki, which is bold and silver, and then the red crystallinum with this crazy veining with that bit of red. We see the tinge of red all around it. Beautiful red accent. And with hybrids, every single one of them will have slightly different characters. Some of them will have, this one will have rounder leaves, some of them will have narrower leaves, some of them will be more red. Interesting. Feel free to check out my videos on Anthurium hybrids. I think they're the next thing in the market. Here's the mother plant of the red crystallinum, which is one of the parent plants of the dorayaki x red crystallinum. This is actually very, very hard to come by here in Indonesia. This is from Florida, yeah? Red crystallinum.
I got it from Enid.
Enid, right? Yeah. I think everybody literally got this from Enid. So, Enid, if you're watching this, I hope to meet you someday. But yeah, look at that new leaf. This is a really, really beautiful masterpiece. And I don't know what this is hybridized with. There's definitely crystallinum in here, or maybe it's a mutation. Really, really gorgeous. And they do have the smaller ones on sale, which we will see later. But this is the mother plant, and it is ready to fruit. This is the Philodendron campus portoanum. Yeah, sorry, these are all new to me. I'm still learning the names, but I'm staring at those guys, giving them eye contact to see if they can correct me. But this is a really, really interesting plant. Look at them. They actually look like the Syngonium. There's a Syngonium that looks like this. Can't remember the name, but this is a philodendron. Look at how prolific they grow. Look at all these beautiful aerial roots. Prolific climber, and they do have these cute chubby leaves. So this is a variegated bird nest Anthurium that's from Thailand. And look at how beautiful the variegation is on these. They do have these in stock, probably smaller versions of these. Look at that. Really, really cool. And look at the roots. There's some pinks on the roots. So if you watch my Edi Pranoto video, these guys are usually mutated, hybrids, and of course variegation is oftentimes found not just through propagation but through seedlings. Sometimes they'll put out variegated leaves. But yeah, variegated Anthuriums are a thing that's gonna happen next. This is a beautiful one too. Beautiful bird nest type Anthurium. So this is a rare Anthurium. It's an Anthurium sp. Limon. I can't remember. Name's gonna be on the screen. This is the more mature leaf. It forms this, what do you call this? I don't know what the term is, but it's just three things that dangle down. The baby leaves look like this. This is the baby leaf, yeah? And then they actually grow upwards. They're one of those Anthuriums that actually are very epiphytic. And look at the flowers here. And I want to show you this here too. This is another one that's put out spadix. Look at how happy it is here. Interesting, right? So this is actually a big leaf. It's only split into two. So this is the newest leaf that's split into three. Really, really interesting. They do have many smaller varieties, so feel free to ask if you're into this. But I love climbing Anthuriums. It's amazing. This is the Philodendron aplanatum. And there's a few things I want to call out too. First of all, it grew out of its pot and it's leaning down on the table and it's just resting here with tons of aerial roots just spreading around. So in nature, this is how they propagate themselves. But look at the leaves here. Really, really beautiful leaf. And look at these petioles. Chubby petioles. My goodness. This is very interesting. Look at the shape of these petioles. Interesting leaf shape, interesting petiole, and a very naughty growth pattern. I love this. This is the Philodendron violin variegata. They do have a lot of smaller specimens of these. I actually quite like them when they're a bit smaller because they do have that more signature violin shape, but they also look nice in a big form like this. Yeah, look at that. That's a cute leaf shape on that. Nice. And there's actually a lot of variegated Monsteras here. I don't even know what to call out to them. This one has 3 colors. Ini apa ya Monsteranya ya? So this is the Marmorata, but it's got such beautiful coloring and there's a whole bed of them. I'm amongst a whole bed of the Marmoratas. And we're gonna see a lot more of the variegated Monsteras back there. This one is beautiful too. This Marmorata. I cannot believe that they can put out these picturesque leaves. This is amazing. So I was just told that these are all from the same mother plant. So some of them are just pure yellow, like these over here, but some of them can put out these tricolor. And overseas, they said that some people actually claim them to be the tricolor and they do charge a little bit more for them, but they're in fact the same species. Interesting. And over here, there's a lot of Philodendron Florida Beauty. If you're in the market for these, they come in so many different variegations and sizes, and I guess a different price range here. Interesting, look at that. These are all actually perfect retail sizes. Nice. And here's Anthurium Sweet Love. It's a local hybrid. Yeah, it's a local hybrid. It's variegated. And that is the more mature form, yeah? Different size. Oh, how cute is that? So there's the baby ones and there's the bigger ones. Alright, and we're now going inside the cage. This is where actually a lot of the ready to retail plants are. Earlier outside, actually, there are a lot of plants that were still in the growing stages. So we'll see a lot more interesting stuff in here. This is the variegated King Clarinervium. This is the regular Clarinervium. Sorry, not regular, variegated regular. And this is the Clarinervium King, because it does look different from the regular Clarinervium. It's got more interesting shapes on these. Look at the new leaf. Welcome the new leaf. Hello. I love watching new leaf unfurl on Anthuriums. Red crystallinum is ready for sale. There is a Syngonium strawberry shake, strawberry ice, and it's a beautiful one. Usually they're not this beautiful. My goodness. Look at how cute this is.
It's a selected clone.
Selected clone, yeah. So you have to get rid of a lot of the ones yang...
Correct.
Yeah, my goodness. Because a lot of them look pretty bad in the market, yeah.
This is basic.
And there's a lot of... and this is a Scindapsus Tribute Moonlight Variegata, yeah. Yeah. Nice. Syngonium tricolor, these are the babies. This is an even smaller baby, hello. Yeah, there's quite a lot of them. I've seen a lot of these and they tend to be pretty good. But correct me if I'm wrong, because they do need a bit of white and the pink and the green to be qualified as a good variegation. Yeah. These are all Trubii juga ya? Rubicon. Alright. Yeah, so before we saw what the white variegated, this is the Rubicon. Imagine a full pot of this, like just a psh. How nice would that be? This is just gorgeous. And we're in the Rhaphidophora section. Purberula. And these are all variegated. So Rhaphidophoras are endemic to Indonesia, and they really love to be attached to a moss pole. So when you're growing like this, it's time to give it a pole, and they really love to climb. They will climb up like that, basically. And all Rhaphidophoras, they do enlarge when you give them a pole, and they do fenestrate, with, usually with tiny holes on the leaves. There's quite a few here, my goodness. Very nice to see them in stock, different sizes. So this is the Philodendron polypodoides. My goodness, these guys are good. Thank you, they're very good. They're better at Latin than I am. But apparently, the Philodendron pedatum, they just told me, do mutate, and this is the final mutation. They become slimmer and slimmer. So yeah, let me know if that's correct or not, but that was an interesting trivia to know. And this is a very popular plant right now. This is the Syngonium chiapense variegata. This is a particularly beautiful one with the variegation. Massive leaves. They are prolific climbers, you guys. They love to climb. Look at the variegation on the stem here. They love to climb, and I've been seeing them left and right here. And Pak Chandra just told me that basically there were two people that got this from Taiwan. One was in the Philippines and one was gifted to him here. So all the ones that you see here in Indonesia were from his collection, which is fascinating. This is the Philodendron domesticum variegata. Quite a hot plant right now, actually. I've been seeing these in a lot of the shows here, the Aroids shows. Some of the content are coming in May, so be on the lookout for those. This one still got the first leaf, look. It's growing upwards. Really, really beautiful. And they need a moss pole, I think. They're climbers. Interesting. This is also domesticum. Yeah. Because when we normally buy them, they look like this. But at some point, you're gonna need to give them something to climb on. This is so beautiful. This is the Syngonium chiapense variegata. How nice. Look at that one too. Look at the new leaf. They're quite nice. I mean, they're actually, a lot of them do have green leaves. Very often the variegation is very irregular, but once you have these come through, and these leaves are quite thick, by the way, they're quite nice. And the fact that they are so spread out, a lot of vendors here actually already have them. It goes to show that these guys are actually quite easy to grow, quite fast growing, and easy to propagate. And there's a few more here, my goodness, they are half moons almost. How nice is that? And this one too. This is one that is really, really nicely variegated. Look at this leaf. This leaf, almost every leaf is variegated. Ta-da! Look at that! It's half moons. Beautiful. And this one trails off a little bit, which is great. So this is the Anthurium red crystallinum. As we mentioned earlier, this is one of the father plant. This is the mother. This is a ace of spades, which is an Anthurium that is variegated. Oh my god, look at how beautiful this is. How nice is this? My goodness. And then these are the offspring. So when you marry the two, these are the babies. These are from seedlings. So when you have seedlings from a variegated plant, you have a higher chance of getting variegation, but it doesn't happen all the time. As we can see here, this is from the same seedling, but it is green and it is still kind of gorgeous. So this plus this equals to this. It's gone into a very classic green look. I'm surprised. This is very, very surprising. No silver at all. My goodness. And it's already flowering. Look at that. This is really interesting. It's unique because there's only one of this. So we actually saw the adult form earlier, and I told you that I actually quite like the smaller forms. This is it. This is the small Philodendron violins. See how cute are they? I mean, you can let them climb up and get big, but again, I do like, this is a very manageable size for me. I personally like this better, and you can appreciate the leaf shape and variegation, but of course, to each of its own. If you want to grow them out, look at how nice this is. So the violin has the green form, the golden, and now this is the variegated, and it's a little bit golden looking, the very lemony type variegation. So this is the Monstera mint, and they do have these in stock. Look at the new leaf. This is really beautiful, and a lot of people have DM'd me about these. But here, this is the white mint. So I'm still learning the differences, by the way. I don't know the differences between the variegated, but apparently the white mint is the final variegation, final mutation from this. So this can turn into this, but this cannot turn back into this. So this is the, I guess, the final mutation. And this is a very, very slow grower and considered to be a very difficult plant to grow. But imagine when you let this grow out, have them split, and it's this mint color. Oh my goodness. That is amazing, but not for beginners. And this is still very expensive. They don't have this in stock yet, but do keep an eye out for these in the market. Really interesting. They have a lot of variegated Monsteras. That's the Marmorada as well. I'm so sorry, I called you a Marmorada. This is wrong. This is actually a Monstera marlin from Kunzo, from Japan. Came all the way here to Indonesia. Welcome. I'm putting out a new leaf here. But they do have this in stock for the smaller ones. But look at how extremely neon the variegation is compared to the Marmorada. Interesting. And this is coming hot into the market. I've been seeing these quite a lot. And not all of them look this good. This is actually some of the better ones that I've seen out there. Oh my god, and this one has this is the Melanochrysum. I should have mentioned it in case it's not obvious to you. But look at the variegation and just two tones. And this one is just beautiful. And we haven't seen the big ones yet because a lot of them are still being cut. This is still quite new. But I can imagine if it's got big, because you know Melanochrysums, invariably they do get huge. This might be really, really nice. This might be really, really beautiful. Look at that. Interesting. I knew I had mixed feelings about this because I saw some meh looking ones, but these two here, my goodness. Oh my gosh, showstoppers. This is the Philodendron red partitum. Sorry, this is the Philodendron red tripartitum. I guess the tree comes from the fact that it's the leaves come in threes like this. 3 lobes. Look at the underside. Hello. And it grows really prolifically upwards. This is so cool. I love looking at healthy stems like these. This is the newest leaf. It's still increasing in size. And here's the lower leaf. Interesting. If this shape is your kind of thing, this is really interesting. And here is a variegated Philodendron gloriosum. My goodness, and there's actually a few leaves from this. This one is not, it's still hardening, so the variegation hasn't come through yet. But it can look like this. Look at this one here. I have to zoom in. Ta-da! It's actually very picturesque. It looks like a world map, like an atlas. But this one's nice. Very nice. And the thing that I like about these velvety philodendrons that are variegated is that their leaves will become asymmetrical. Because normal gloriosum and also normal melanochrysum, their leaves are usually symmetrical, but when you're variegated, they become a little bit off, which I kind of appreciate. This beast here, this is the Philodendron warscewiczii mint, and these guys can get huge, by the way. And one thing that I particularly love about them is their thick stem here. And just because they have thick stem like this, keep in mind they really, really hate water. The most common way to kill these is by overwatering. Especially if it's a mint. I don't have this. This is probably very expensive, out of my budget. But for those of you who can afford this, keep in mind less chlorophyll, thick stem means you don't want to overwater it. That's my tip for you. But look at how beautiful and minty the leaves are. My goodness, these guys can get huge. When they get big, their leaves become almost like a fern, almost. And they're prolific climbers. They need something to climb on. And here's this baby one. It's such a privilege to be holding one of these in my arms. Oh my god, I love my job. This is really, really pretty. My goodness. Do you remember the warscewiczii that we filmed earlier? Look at the thick stem here. This is the bigger one. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Look at this mature. This is actually still a medium-sized ones. They can get double or triple that size, and these will get thinner and thinner as they put out more mature leaves. But I love how chubby this is. Look at how chubby this is. If you don't like the mint, do look into the green version because the green ones are quite nice too, but then they're very, very inexpensive, very easy to come by. But my goodness, this is like a tree basically, but this does need something to lean on, by the way. At some point this will fall over if you don't give it support. And these are the growing look at that. I cannot imagine propagating this because propagating a thick stem plant is really difficult. It's easy to rot them. My goodness, but this is so healthy. I'm having a heart attack now. This is really, really something. And something tells me that this is probably a slow grower. And yeah, not the easiest one for sure. Even the regular green warscewiczii I struggle with. But my goodness, this is beautiful. This is, oh my gosh. And there's actually a lot of obliquas in stock here. If this was on your wish list in 2020, now's a good time to buy them because they're becoming a little bit more affordable these days. They're a classic houseplant actually for the year 2020 because a lot of the plant logos, a lot of businesses use the obliqua as their logo. It's a quintessential houseplant. Interesting. And back here, I need to call this out. This is the black cardinal variegated, and the big one's actually over here. We used to not like this. I remember people used to like trash talk this plant, but this is actually quite nice. Look at this. The color is very, very complicated on these, and they can get quite massive too. And they grow in a rosette pattern, so they're better enjoyed from up above. And you guys, there's the Spiritus sanctii here. Not many people have them here in Indonesia. I can list only, a handful of nurseries. So this is a medium-sized one. They do have some smaller ones, but look how many leaves they have here. This is a very, very healthy specimen. Interesting. And I think the internet broke because somebody did manage to fruit them and to grow them from seeds. So that's quite interesting to see. But here's one here. My God, they're actually really prolific. Look at how many leaves they have here. This is even more dense than the biliatii, which we're going to talk about. This is the Philodendron biliatii variegata. They grow in kind of the similar pattern. So, yeah. And there's some Syngonium scrambled eggs here. This is the Rei variegata, yeah. So we call them the scrambled eggs. Look at the beauty on these. The yellow actually looks like an egg yolk. It's like this neon color. Interesting. So here's the Syngonium panda galaxy. Look at that. It looks like a Thai constellation. It's a very constellation type variegation. This looks like an easy plant to care for, I have a feeling. Yeah. And here's some variegated Cyanastrum cordifoliums. My goodness, I screamed a little when I see this. Look at that. So a little bit of a backstory that they told me. They actually discovered this variegation here. I actually own one of this in a full green version. The green one, trust me, it's beautiful. Look at the pattern on the leaves. It's also an easy plant to grow. They're very fast growing and they put up pups like crazy. But they found this growing here in the nursery out of the green foliage and then separated it and they grew it and they basically kind of selectively bred them. They kept propagating the variegated ones and now we have this here. So apparently they started yellow variegated and then they become white variegated. Now we're unsure if this is some phenomenon that can be found elsewhere in the world, but if you ask me why they can become variegated like this, it's probably because they're surrounded by many variegated plants around here and they decided one day, hey, maybe I should evolve so I can be more well-loved, well-prized, and well-propagated. But this is successful, of course. As you can see, it's been propagated like crazy here. Oh my god, this is just so beautiful. So yeah, if you want your green plants to become variegated, place them next to other variegated plants. I'm kidding. This is the worst advice ever. But anyways, joking aside, this is just truly wonderful, wonderful, wonderful plant. Here are some more obliquas in cultivation here. Interesting, look at that. And this is actually the perfect retail size. There's enough leaves to sustain them, so they're just gonna be ready to take off from here onwards. Because I remember that in 2020 we would buy them as a single leaf cutting, and my goodness, some people even buy the wet sticks. Oh my goodness. But these guys are actually ready to take off. And I have a feeling, something tells me they're not crazy expensive as they were back then. So now's a good time to get them. Very, very interesting. Oh my god. Hello, little one. And here are some stocks of the UPI. They do have quite a lot here. Very interesting. And these are actually just cut.
Yeah,
So they do have the bottom cutting. And that's my favorite cutting, by the way, because when you have a bottom, look at that. Look at that right there. It's trying to push out a vine. I love bottom cuttings only because they can push out many vines, sometimes more than 2 vines out of them. And yeah, so as you can see, they are propagating them. So a lot of the top cuttings are also in stock. So feel free to ask if you're in the market for a UPI. This is, again, I need to call this out. This is the serpents. Look at how nice this is. This is pretty interesting. Oh, this is this is squamicale. This is serpents. Actually, I mentioned this in one of my other videos. I don't think it's out yet. It's going to be out in May. I speak about the difference, but one is less fuzzy. The squamicale, yeah. And this one here, the serpents, is more fuzzy. And the leaves look pretty much, this is a little bit more triangular, I think. This is a bit narrower, but I could be wrong. But the way that you can tell them apart is by the level of hairiness on the petioles. This is quite something, you guys. So quick pro tip here from the growers. This one here do need a little bit of a higher humidity, so it's advisable to put them maybe under other plants to get ambient humidity, and maybe not as bright, I think. Yeah. So this is the Anthurium luxuriant. This is a really, really good retail size. Look at that big pink over there. Just stare at it and get mesmerized by it. This is a really, really nice, oh my god, this is a cutting, so you can see there's another vine trying to come out of it. Oh my goodness. Really, really beautiful. And then there's some more over here. So they do have several sizes. This one actually has 3 leaves already. Interesting. And more they're really, really propagating this beautifully. This is the Syngonium chiapense again. Here are some Philodendron choco red. I love the new leaves. I'll move this away. Look at the new leaves. It's like this lime green and this contrast of orange. And of course, they're known for their beautiful red backs. Really nice. Look at their sheath and that red back here. And they have velvety leaves too. Look at the iridescence on these before they turn into these velvety leaves. This is a Philodendron gigas. We usually see them in smaller forms because they're sold in smaller forms, but look at this one. This is beautiful. It's got dark, very, very dark leaf. It's very similar to the Milano chrysum, but I actually mislabeled this one time. I was doing a plant tour in one of the nurseries, and so many of you guys corrected me, thank you. But this is in fact not the Milano. They're a little bit different. Really interesting. This is more teardrop shaped than the Milano, and Pak Chandra told me that he hasn't really seen big versions of these. Even though the name is gigas, I was imagining that it would get into like a monster size, but he hasn't seen those. But if you have, comment down below. But yeah, this is actually a pretty decent size. Usually they're sold in like this size, and they do want to climb onto some. They're prolific climbers. This is the Philodendron distantilobum. I'm corrected. Distantilobum. Oh my goodness. Okay. That did not it's much easier to pronounce plants that I'm familiar with. But look at this one here, my goodness. It looks like a fern. Kind of like a fern. So you see what I mean? There's so many weird and rare Aroids. And I really love how small this pot is. This is growing out of a teeny tiny small pot. And this brings me joy. Look at this little growing eye here. This is adorable actually. I have a fern that looks like this. This is the Amedrium zipalianum variegata. I have a video soon on this, on the green form, on how to care for it. So be on the lookout for those, but this is a misunderstood species in terms of care. They do need something to climb on. If not, they're gonna put out miles and miles of runners. But the variegated ones are actually just started to come into the market quite hot because they're actually sold like this. If you see this, you'll be like, what the heck is this? But their mature form actually grows into like a palm-shaped leaves. I don't know if you can imagine that. But they fenestrate really well and they can get really, really massive. So these are just the juvenile forms. But be on the lookout for these. This is actually really, really beautiful and easy to grow for me. So this is the Philodendron tenuis. And if you ask me, this is like the evil sister of the Sharonii, which is something that we are more familiar with. But the tenuis is a little bit chubbier. I actually adore the smaller leaves. Look at this one here. So I've been growing them out a little bit. I haven't gotten big mature leaves because I'm still propagating it. But yeah, look at how nice the shape is. It's like a chubby version of the Sharonii. And they're prolific growers, so you do need to give them something to climb on at some point. Over here, this is the Philodendron ventricosum. I have to stare at them whenever I say it because I've never heard of these before. There's so many diversity here, you guys. They say that they have around 200 species of Aroids here. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. I don't know this species very well, but then I do love this lines on these and the shape. And this is very similar to it, but this one is called the Philodendron planadens. Very similar. Hang on, let me put them side by side. You won't be able to tell them apart that easily. Hang on. This one has a line coming down the middle of the leaves. This one doesn't have that pronounced line, but other than that, they look very similar, yeah? So Pak Chandra here, he actually sometimes purchases plants from overseas, and he has a lot of overseas friends that just sends him plants. They do exchange plants now and then, which is why he's managed to acquire some of these really interesting species. And actually a lot of these that he's brought into the country here are being distributed locally, enabling a lot of the local farmers and growers to benefit from them, which is really, really great. So hopefully we'll start seeing some of these rarer Aroids take off because there's so many. I can't remember this until we discovered this earlier. But there's so many more Aroids to discover that are not popular, they're not big on Instagram or anything. But my goodness, they have exhibited such beautiful characters. Here in my hand, this is the Philodendron gladhens. This is actually a mess. There's two vines in here. It's getting a little bit messy and it kind of needs a pole. But imagine like, we usually see them in tiny little pots. In like cuttings because they are not cheap to come by, they're not easy to come by. But this one's already quite big. My goodness. This is a Philodendron panduriform. Look at this, giving me a handshake here. Hello. This one's gonna be so cute. There's actually some, oh my god, I'm actually, today it's a really good field day for me. And I just want to remind you guys that if you see something here today that you like, feel free to reach out. The Instagram is going to be on the screen. And then I do get 10% of the cut, but we promise not to mark up the prices. So this is one way for you to shop. We call this the virtual shopping experience. And it's going to be my first time doing it. So hopefully if it's a success, I can continue to do this to bring you, to discover more species with you, to bring you to more nurseries where you can make direct purchases, and you can also contribute to the channel and contribute to the local businesses here. Yeah, so yeah, this is my actually the locals, I have to tell you a little bit, the locals actually have a system called live sale. So someone like an influencer would go on Instagram and they would do like a live sale at the moment and people would bid for these plants. So there is a culture here, but I don't think I've seen that overseas, so I may cover that. But this right here, this virtual shopping experience that I'm doing today, it's actually the first time that I've done it. So let me know how you think about these kind of shopping trips. And yeah, again, if you see something to your fancy, feel free to ask them. They are very, very qualified exporters. They have a lot of stock. This here is a Philodendron baroswanum. Look at that new leaf that's just unfurling. But There's a lot of these chubby leaves that we saw today, but I thought they would be one species, but they're all different. Very, very cute. Very, very chubby. Hello. Yeah, someone should put more potting medium in there. They can root into this. And then this one here, sorry.
Santa Martinez.
Santa Martinez. This is new. I'm learning so much, you guys. I'm taking notes. Santa Martinez. Oh, this is falling over. But yeah, this needs a bit more potting mix and a moss pole. Interesting shape. A lot of trilobes here today. I wonder if that's the thing that's gonna take off in the future. Look at the little bit of ruffle here. I wonder if this is the thing that will take off because it never did. So yeah, could be something cool to explore. This is a philodendron that was found in tissue culture, so it is probably a cultivar. It's man-made. I got it from Thailand a while ago, and my goodness, look at this. And there was no ID at the time, so feel free to comment down below if you actually figure out what plant this is. But look at its beauty. Oh my goodness. And this is what the main patio here looks like. It's a very sturdy plant, you guys. I'm like holding it. The leaves are very, very thick. And the stem is very sturdy. Look at the veining. It's very, very sturdy plant. He only has 3 in stock, so this is actually very precious to him. But again, this has no ID. Feel free to comment if you figure out the ID on these. But I'm gonna leave you at that. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this shopping experience. I'm at Botanist on Instagram, and in Indo Aroids Instagram is gonna be on the screen, so feel free to reach out to them. And I guess I will see you in the next episode. Bye.